Salutations everyone, this is Razor here giving you guys an Overwatch video talking about one of the least common things that bad players do. Or lower level players, let's just say, to be fair. Some people at the low levels aren't necessarily bad, maybe they're even just new. But it's switching. It's something that pros do, it's something that really good players do, it's something that high level players, some of them occasionally do. As switching their heroes. It's one of the most underutilized tools in the game. One of the unique things about Overwatch being a hero shooter, where there's no kits, there's no customizable weapons or loadouts or anything like that, is just heroes and their abilities. Nothing about the game changes whether you're playing it for the first time or for the millionth time, outside of cosmetic things, is that you can switch characters. In any other hero shooter or MOBA, almost none of them allow you to switch characters on the fly mid-game, and that is something that is very important and integral to how Overwatch works. There's a lot of strategies that wouldn't be possible without that, such as putting Orisa on the high ground on Anubis point A by using Mei. But if you don't want to stay Mei, then you have the ability to do that because of Overwatch. And when it comes to trying to defend on a hybrid map such as Hollywood, some characters might be really good at defending the point A, but once they lose it and you're in the streets phase, you might want to use a more mobile character or a little bit more versatile character, or the terrain changes so it's less vertical or more vertical. Maybe Pharah on attack isn't as good in the mid stage, or maybe Widow or Hanzo isn't as good on the streets phase, or maybe you need to change up your healer. Maybe you need a Lucio, instead of an Ana, or switching off of Torb on Numbani defense point 1, where you see a lot of people with success with Torb there. But afterwards, you always see somebody switch because Torb's just not good for the streets phase. And outside of hybrid maps, there are plenty of situations where okay, it turns out they have a really good Pharah, so now we need a hit scan instead of, just going, just Tracer Genji. We need someone with the ranged ability to take out that Pharah. Or we need to, change up so we have more shield pressure. They have a Reinhardt that's getting pocketed, so let's, switch up, let's get a Junkrat in there and take out the shields, or something like that. Or maybe your shot isn't very good with your Zen, and you just want to switch to Lucio or Mercy, or your team isn't helping you when you're Winstoning, so you switch to Zarya or whatever. There's a lot of reasons to switch, and it's something that I've always done, and something that the game has always built in no reasons for us to do, because of the way that the SR system used to work and still works at the lower levels. For us that are Diamond and above, this is no longer an issue, but if you switched characters, you would gain less SR. And if you weren't using DPS characters, you weren't going to be gaining as much SR. Take a look at the top 500. It's historically, with the exception of Mercy back when that SR exploit was in effect, it's all DPS in some tanks, but usually their first character is going to be DPS, and if their first character is a tank, it's usually quite an anomaly. But it all came to how you could build SR, and with the new changes to Diamond and above players, and I know we all want these changes to go out to all levels of competitive, but now it doesn't matter what character you play or how many characters you play. The only thing that matters is whether you win or you lose, and the amount of SR is calculated somehow. It's not always the same SR every single game. Depends on the disparity between the SR of the two teams, the average SR of the two teams, I'm sure, and I don't know exactly how that equation is handled, but I'm sure it is, in some capacity or other that makes somewhat sense. But here on point 1, I started with Hanzo on defense. I was with a 5-stack that was, pretty easy going. They were like, all right, just switch if the Hanzo isn't working, and obviously if I was if I was a Mercy and it wasn't working, I would switch off her. You know, it doesn't matter what the character is, I'm always going to switch if it's not working. You know, I'm not going to stick with, you know, Reaper or, you know, Orisa if I'm just getting annihilated and, you know, not really working well with the team. You're not synergizing perfectly with them. And so, you know, I'm really good at holding point A with Hanzo, but, you know, most of the time you aren't going to hold point A, but, you know, do what you can. And I did a decent job. I was taking out the Pharah, got a few kills, got my ultimate, and we were able to shave a little bit of time off the clock. After that, I switched to Tracer. She's much more useful on the streets phase, gives a little bit more mobility, obviously more so than a Hanzo could, and more so than, you know, other DPS characters out there. And then when we go to the defense, I switch again because, you know, we're going to be attacking that point A. And you need to switch up your strategies based off of the character strengths of the players. Obviously, in matchmaking, you're not going to know who's good on what character, and a lot of the times the time played in a season is going to be not the greatest indicator of who that person mains or who they're good with or who they want to use or where they're best utilized, you know. And obviously the map has to do a lot with that as well as, you know, synergy. You know, who works well with Zarya, who works well with Mercy, who works well with Reinhardt, who works well with Pharah. You know, there's a lot of things that you do not know going into the game that you just kind of have to figure out with matchmaking. You know, we're not within a full team, so there's a lot of guesswork and experimentation, and you know, just working through the possible bumps in the road. And that's what I've always tried to do because I've always cared about winning. I have the most fun when I'm winning. I could, you know, be and pretty much any character. I could be Mercy 90% of the time, and if I'm winning 90% of the time, I'm probably having a good time on that Mercy. But you know, if I'm losing, it doesn't really matter what character I'm being. There's so many people just take the I don't even care, fuck it attitude, which if you have that attitude, don't be in comp. This isn't the game mode for you. There's 30 other game modes for people that don't care, but competitive is not one of them. And if you're one of the people that one trick or are stuck in this culture of maining is not a thing in Overwatch. It's not a thing. You'll never find a person who's really, really good at the game consistently in a large number of random or non-random teammates who can only play one character. If you can only play one character, you're not very good at the game. If you can only play DPS, you are shit at Overwatch. That's just the way that it is. So you need to be flexible and you need to change things. If things aren't working, take a look at why they're not working. Take a look at what the win conditions are. Is it getting rid of that Tracer in your backline? Is it applying more pressure to the Reinhardt? Is it taking out the healers? You know, is it, you know, getting rid of the Pharah or the soldier on the high ground? There's a lot of different things that you have to take into consideration, and I really, really hate losing, but what I hate more is losing at the character select screen and people that refuse to switch. There's so many Torbjorn one tricks out there that I've played with randomly that just choose not to switch, and some of them I recognize. That's the one trick Torbjorn who never switches, and I've never won a game with them, even though I've played with them 5 times, and the only reason I know that is because they have a very recognizable gamer tag. But those people that don't switch are at detriment to the game, and you know, it'd be great if gold guns were in competitive and you can get them in quick play, or maybe if you can only get them in quick play, so you get less people care about you know, just using whatever character they want and just try to win. Winning is the end goal. Winning is the meta. And one of the greatest ways to do that is to diversify your hero pool. I would recommend learning the majority of the cast, or at the very least learning the majority of 2 of the 3 slots in a team, DPS, tank, or a healer, and at least know how to use 2 of each at a relatively decent level compared to, you know, what your SR is. So and you know, okay, I switched to Zen here. Zen on attack on Hollywood is probably my favorite thing to do in Overwatch, and I'm really, really good at it. Calling out those Discord orbs. We knew what the win condition was here with how far we needed to push the payload, and I thought that Zen was the best thing here. I didn't want to, you know, just be that solo main Hanzo out there, or someone who's picking Tracer when the enemy team or your friendly team would rather work better if you were on a healer that you're really good at and have them pick one of their safety picks. So I'm always accommodating. I'm always a filler in my game because the less likely enemies are to throw if I just pick whatever they need me to pick. If I need to play Mercy, I don't like it, but I'll play Mercy. If I need to play Orisa, I'm not gonna like it because I do it so often, but I'm gonna play Orisa because that'll give my team the best chance at winning. Or, you know, maybe it's D.Va, maybe it's Zarya or Roadhog or whatever. Whatever the healer or tank may be, I'll be it. And once in a blue moon, if I get to be DPS, I'll pick the one that is best suited for the job, not just solo pick Torb or Widow or Symmetra, regardless of the situation, because I care about winning. I'm in a game mode where you're supposed to care about winning, and that's what I do. That's the only thing that I can control, and you know, the rest of it is RNG, just pug RNG on, you know, what teammates you get and how well they decide that they want to play. But if you can switch mid-game and have a diverse hero pool, you can be one of the reasons why your team is winning more often than they are losing. And then at the end, that is our end goal. We all want higher SR. We all want the numbers that mean nothing to be higher numbers than they currently are. And I have the most fun when I'm winning and when I'm switching and being the best suited role that my team needs. I don't need to be MVP. I don't need to be the DPS master. I don't need gold anything. I care about winning. I care about playing for the team. And if that means playing 3 or 4 different characters in a match, I'm gonna do it. You see, I'm not getting gold medals. I'm not getting play of the game. I'm not getting an end card. I'm not on fire 80% of the time, but I played the characters that were best suited for that map, for that team, for the situation, and we got the W.